These shots were filmed by his trusted assistant, David Dawson, as he posed for Freud's final painting.
Quite it.
It is the first time this secretive man has been filmed working. It is also what turned out to be the very last day he ever painted. Only a few days later, on the 20th of July last year, the artist Lucian Freud died. He was acclaimed only in the last quarter of his life. He was famous for mercilessly explicit paintings. Notorious for sex with young women in old age and for a surprising number of children, some like to say as many as 40, but in reality more like 14.
37, Lucian Freud, benefits supervisor sleeping.
And celebrated for breaking world records at auction.
$30 million.
These headlines are endlessly recycled because the artist gave little away. Despite his late uninvited exposure, for most of his life, Lucian Freud was almost invisible and always elusive.
Now we're going to drop it down a little.
It's a few weeks after Lucian's death. His assistant, David Dawson, is still caught up in the strands of his life. Sharpened by a sense of loss, memories of the artist and his paintings are surfacing amongst his lovers, family and friends. They talk with the same uncompromising honesty with which Freud painted them, revealing the romantic passion which fused his life with his art.
My preferred subject matter are humans. I'm really interested in them as animals, and part of liking to work from the naked is partly for that reason.
When you're with him one-on-one, it was the most intimate, intense level of friendship. Completely in the moment, about what was happening around you, and that's all that mattered.
He was electric, and everything about him was electric, and so one was stimulated immediately. Just the way he walked into a room and the way he breathed like an animal that's excited, and he was very animal and feral, and he did exactly what he wanted.
I think he was very shy, actually, quite shy. Obviously loved women, so he's not so shy with them. He was always chasing girls. I mean, he spent a lot of time doing that. He was a bit of a show-off, I would say. But a show-off with all the desires of not being noticed. just equally wanting to be noticed, so it's a contradiction.
He used to get into fights all the time, and he very easily took against things in a way that I thought was delightful. I really admired, you know, the way he would just suddenly decide that something really pissed him off was superb, because there was nothing half-hearted about his responses to things.
On one occasion, he was in this punch-up with this man in Marylebone High Street, and the man was much bigger than him, and he'd pinned Lucian to the pavement and was absolutely going berserk and punching Lucian. And Lucian, at this point, having given as good as he'd got up till then, just kind of lay back as though he was on a beach and became completely passive, as though it was happening to somebody else. And I think Lucian had this kind of animal instinct to know how to play life, really.
Hang around, this will turn that off the face. With the Victor has taken over now, and he had a narrow advantage. They reached the halfway point.
I remember once he lost, I think, nearly £1 million in one afternoon. Then the other afternoon he won £1 million. We said, brilliant. We said, well, actually I owe £4 million. So it's not all that good.
The motive, I think, was to lose everything, and that somehow triggered him off to be able to then get down and paint, because there's no other distractions. And then as the price of his paintings increased, there was just too much money involved. He couldn't get rid of it all, and then that's when he lost interest.
Lucian Freud sacrificed everything for his painting, happy to be feared, if that kept the world at bay. He kept his private life as mysterious as possible. What he wants us to know is all there in the painting. Evidence of what he saw, delivered with lacerating honesty. The paintings often disturb and yet enchant us too with their intensity. And that disturbing intensity was there from the start, in his family and with his mother.
He always said that he really couldn't stand his mother. His mother used to hoard his love letters that she found. She used to write to girlfriends asking for love letters so she could put them in her drawer. You know, she was intrusive, she was instinctive, he said, and her instinct, by that he meant her instincts were to know what he was up to, and he didn't want her to know what he was up to.
Lucian was born in Berlin in 1922, and from the outset his mother encouraged his talent. She hoarded all his childhood drawings. He was her favourite, and she named him after herself, Lucy. Lucian.
When Lucian was born, his father Ernst set off almost immediately to the mountains and left Lucy and Lucian alone. And you know, as a mother myself, I know how incredibly important those first few months are. You just completely wrapped up in your baby, and there's no doubt that she was very connected to him.
When he was 18, he made a drawing of her. He wouldn't make another image of her for 30 years. What did he make of his father? Ernst Freud was a successful architect. In the late 20s, Berlin was at the forefront of modern design. Today, his cigarette factory is still standing. And in Potsdam, his fashionable weekend retreat for a banker client, Modernism in Brick, is being restored. Ernst was a society architect. Lucian found him boring.
I think my first memory of us all sitting on the floor in our nursery with a diavolo, you know, one of these things, a piece of string with a sort of
wasted object in the middle which you try and roll along the string and bounce up in the air, and we all vied with each other to do it best.
The family apartment was full of his father's trendy furniture. But on the wall is a print of a painting by Titian, an artist who was to become one of Lucien's absolute favourites.
We would drive to museums non-stop.
Do you think Lucien would take them to museums?
Oh, I'm certain. I mean, that was a period in which we lived, and the people who were our family. Art and music played a huge role.
In later life, Lucien denied being taken to the great Berlin galleries. He rarely talked about his influences. He refused any sort of label. But he did talk about his affinity with animals, and in particular, horses.
He did say that as a child he used to go to the grand house called Gaglin. There were horses there, and I think he once said that there was a fire, and that he remembered, the distress of the horses and how important it was to let the horses out.
For the young Lucien, horses were a comfort.